The Tailor's Secret. Layla woke up because the baby next door was crying. She looked at her phone. It was almost 7. Her son, Yusuf, was still asleep beside her, his small hand resting on her arm. She got up quietly and walked to the door of their small flat. Something white was lying on the floor outside. It was an envelope with no name and no writing. She opened it with shaking hands. Inside was money. Not a lot, but enough to pay most of the rent. "Rashid," she whispered. For a moment, hope filled her chest like warm water. Maybe her husband was back. Maybe he was watching the flat from his car, too ashamed to knock on the door. 2 months earlier, Rashid had left without a word. He took their savings and did not say goodbye to his own son. Before he disappeared, he had spent more and more nights away from home and lost money gambling. Since he left, nobody had heard from him. Layla held the envelope to her chest and smiled for the first time in weeks. By 9 o'clock, the smile was gone. Mr. Faisal, the landlord, stood at her door with his arms crossed. "The rent was due yesterday," he said. "I have most of it now." Layla showed him the money. He counted it slowly. "You still need 300 by Friday. Please give me a few more days. I'm looking for work." Mr. Faisal looked past her into the flat. "I cannot run this building on promises. People are already asking why your husband left. A man does not walk away from his family without a reason." "He had reasons," Layla said. "None of them were me." Mr. Faisal handed the money back. Friday. The door closed. Layla stood there holding Yusuf's small shoes, unable to breathe. Later that day, she went to see her mother. She needed help, even if it was only a small loan. "I can't," her mother said without looking at her. "Your aunts already ask me questions. What did she do to make him leave? If I give you money, they will say I am helping you hide something." "Hide what? I didn't do anything." "I know, my daughter." Her mother twisted the edge of her scarf between her fingers. "But people believe what they want. I am not as brave as you think I am." Layla left with tears in her eyes and Yusuf's hand in hers. Her mother believed her, but fear was stronger than belief. Somehow that hurt even more. They walked through the old market, past shops selling spices, lamps, and bright rolls of fabric. Layla was wondering where they could sleep after Friday when she noticed a sign in a window. "Help wanted, tailor shop." Inside, an older woman sat behind a sewing machine. She had grey hair under her scarf and sharp, careful eyes. The name painted on the door was Mariam's Fabrics. "I saw your sign," Layla said. "I need work. My grandmother taught me to sew." The woman looked at her for a long moment. Then she looked at Yusuf, and something in her face became soft and sad. "What's your name?" she asked. "Layla." "And the boy?" "Yusuf." The woman looked down quickly. "I'm Mariam. Come tomorrow morning. I'll give you a 1-week trial. I pay at the end of each day." Layla almost cried with relief. If she worked hard, she could earn the missing 300 before Friday. "Thank you." "Don't thank me yet," Mariam said, turning back to her machine. "First show me what you can do." The next morning, Layla began work at the shop. She was good with a needle, better than Mariam expected. She worked on simple repairs first, then formal abayas and careful embroidery. On Friday evening, she carried the last 300 to Mr. Faisal herself. For the first time since Rashid left, she had solved one of her problems with money she had earned. Mariam kept her after the trial. By the end of the first month, she was giving Layla more difficult work, including wedding dresses that had to fit perfectly. But small things began to bother Layla. One day, she mentioned that Yusuf loved oranges. The next morning, a bag of oranges waited on the counter. "For the boy," Mariam said. "You spoil him." Someone should. Then there was Mariam's ring. It was old gold with a small blue stone and an unusual flower pattern. Layla had seen it before in an old family photograph Rashid once showed her. A younger Mariam stood beside two children wearing that same ring. "That was my mother," Rashid had said. "She died years ago." Layla told herself many old rings looked similar. A few weeks later, a young woman came into the shop. She was about 25 and well-dressed. When she saw Yusuf playing on the floor with pieces of fabric, she stopped completely still. "Hello," Layla said. The woman looked at Yusuf with tears in her eyes. Then she turned and left without buying anything. "Who was that?" Layla asked. "A customer," Mariam replied. Her hands shook slightly on the fabric. "Nobody important." That same week, another envelope appeared under Layla's door at night. It contained enough money to pay the electricity bill and buy food for several days. Layla's hope returned. "It must be Rashid," she told her friend Noor. "Maybe he is ashamed. Maybe this is the only way he can help us." "Has he called?" Noor asked. "No." "Has he sent one message?" "No, but who else would leave money at my door?" Noor did not answer. The rumors began 2 days later. A neighbor said she had seen a tall person in a dark coat outside Layla's flat late at night. She had not seen the person's face, but by the next morning, the stranger had become a man. By the afternoon, he had become Layla's secret lover. Mr. Faisal heard that Layla suddenly had money again. He did not ask where it came from. He simply added his own guess to the story. "Money does not come from nowhere," Layla heard him tell a neighbor. That evening, he told Layla that he might not renew her rental agreement next month. "People do not want secret visitors in this building," he said. "If there is an explanation, I want to hear it." The rumor reached her mother within days. She came to the shop, angry and frightened, and pulled Layla outside. "Is it true? Are you seeing someone while Rashid is still your husband?" "No, I don't even know who left the money." "Then stop taking it. You would not help me. Now you want me to refuse help from someone else?" Her mother looked as if Layla had struck her. "I am trying to protect our family," she said. "So am I," Layla replied. "The difference is that I am protecting a real child, not a family name." Her mother walked away without answering. Layla understood that there was no safe choice. When Rashid left, people blamed her for losing him. Now that she was surviving without him, they blamed her for that too. She needed the truth. A friend of Rashid finally told her where he was working, in a city 2 hours away. Layla left Yusuf with Noor and took the morning bus. She found Rashid outside a garage, drinking tea and laughing with 2 other men. He looked healthy and relaxed. "Rashid!" His smile disappeared. "Why are you here? Are you leaving money at my door?" He looked honestly confused. "What money?" "For the rent, for electricity." "I have sent you nothing." "Then why did you leave us?" Rashid looked away. "I was tired of that life. I have another one now. The divorce papers will come when they come. Yusuf asks about you." For 1 second, shame passed across his face. Then it disappeared. "I can't help you," he said. Go home, Layla. On the bus back, Layla felt something close inside her. Rashid had not returned. He had not watched over them. He had not even tried. But someone had. When she reached the market, she went straight to Mariam's shop. It was late, and Mariam was cutting fabric alone under a yellow lamp. Layla closed the door behind her. It was you, she said. You sent the money. Mariam's hands stopped moving. The ring, the oranges, the woman who stared at Yusuf. You are not a stranger. For a long moment, Mariam said nothing. Then she removed the gold ring and placed it on the table. Rashid is my son, she said. I am Yusuf's grandmother. Layla gripped the back of a chair. He told me you were dead. He began telling people that after I refused to pay his gambling debts. I told him the truth about how he treated people. He decided his life was easier without me in it. And the young woman? My daughter, Aisha, Rashid's sister. She left the envelopes. Mariam nodded. Aisha found your address through one of Rashid's old friends. I gave her the money. She wore a dark coat so nobody would recognize her. Instead, everyone decided I had a secret man. I know. Mariam looked down. When you told me about the rumors, I should have spoken. Why didn't you? Because people blame a mother when her son becomes a bad man. I built this shop for 30 years. I was afraid clients would say, that is the woman who raised him. I wanted to help you without losing everything myself. Layla felt anger rise inside her. So you chose what I was allowed to know. You gave me money, but you also gave me false hope. I thought my husband still cared about his son. I was wrong. And when the rumors began, you let me carry them because the truth was dangerous for you. Mariam did not defend herself. Yes. Layla picked up her bag. Tomorrow afternoon, my mother and Mr. Faisal are coming here. You will tell them who left the money and why. Mariam's face became pale. If this spreads, I may lose customers. I know, Layla said. That is why telling the truth will mean something. The next afternoon, Layla returned with her mother and Mr. Faisal. The landlord brought the neighbor who had seen the person in the dark coat and another tenant as witnesses. Within minutes, several people from the market had stopped outside the open door. Mariam stood behind the cutting table. Aisha stood beside her. For a moment, Layla thought Mariam might change her mind. Then Mariam walked to the doorway. The person in the dark coat was my daughter, she said. The money came from me. There was no man visiting Layla. Mr. Faisal frowned. Why would you give her money in secret? Because Rashid is my son and Yusuf is my grandson. The people outside began to whisper. Mariam raised her voice. My son took his family's savings and left his wife and child with nothing. Layla did not make him leave. She did not shame her family. He did. I helped in secret because I was afraid people would blame me for raising him. She looked at Layla. My fear made her life harder. That was my choice, and I am ashamed of it. If you want the truth, this is the truth. Nobody answered immediately. Mr. Faisal looked uncomfortable, but he did not apologize. The rent has been paid, he said at last. That is what matters to me. One neighbor quietly left. Another stayed near the door, listening. Layla's mother covered her mouth with her hand, but said nothing. The truth did not change everyone. It did not stop every whisper. But from that day, the rumor about a secret man had a name and an answer. During the next week, 2 customers cancelled orders at Mariam's shop. A third woman came in only to ask questions about Rashid. Mariam answered once, then told her to leave. Layla did not immediately forgive her. For several days, they spoke only about work. Mariam stopped sending gifts, and if she wanted to buy something for Yusuf, she asked Layla first. Aisha came to the shop again. This time, she entered through the front door. "May I meet my nephew properly?" she asked. Layla looked at Mariam, then at Aisha. "You may meet him," she said. "The rest will take time." 3 days later, Layla's mother arrived carrying a coat she had made for Yusuf. She put it on the counter. "I should have stood beside you," she said. "I was afraid of people who were not there when you needed them." Layla touched the small coat. "I needed my mother." "I know." It was not a complete apology, and Layla was not ready to pretend everything was repaired. But she made tea and her mother stayed. 2 years later, the shop had a new sign: Mariam and Layla's Fabrics. Layla had saved part of every payment she earned. She used the money to buy a share of the business and helped the shop find new customers online. Aisha visited every week and Yusuf called her Auntie. Layla's mother came for tea on Fridays. Some conversations were still difficult, but she no longer disappeared when people began to talk. Mariam kept the old gold ring. One day, she promised, it would belong to Yusuf. This time, there would be no lies attached to it. Layla never received another nameless envelope. She did not need one. She had not found a perfect new family. They still carried old mistakes, anger, and shame. But they came through the front door now. They told the truth, asked permission, and stayed. For Layla, that was what starting over finally meant. Thank you for listening. I hope you enjoyed the story. Subscribe for more English stories. Keep learning and see you in the next video.